Hi, welcome back. We finished doing the first layer of our opposite colors. Now we're into our third lesson. Now this is going to be a little bit for intermediates because we're going to be doing something else. If you notice here, I've moved the horizon line up. And the reason why I've done that is because you don't really want to have horizon lines in the middle of their paintings. You want to stay away from horizons that are in the middle or other lines that cut up your canvas horizontally or vertically. Now our little building here got somewhat lost, but we'll resurrect it soon. So now what we're doing is we're going to fill in the blue sky. And as you can see, we have the opposite, which is like a red-orange, and the opposite of the green grass is a red magenta. So what I've used is Ceylon blue. And this is a nice pure blue, so I've got blue and white. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create just a little bit of a gradient going here so that we don't have all one color. It's a little bit watery here. So I've got white, lighter base here, darker base there. Okay? And then, again, like I said before, don't worry about your brush strokes. Just have fun. Now what you're doing here is always the horizon is lighter on top and darker on the bottom. Scratch that. It's lighter on top, darker on the bottom. So we're going to do so we're going to create some clouds. So what we're going to have is some lighter sky and darker sky. And you notice here, if we leave it with just the blue, the canvas is going everywhere, we've got some ominous sky happening here. But we're not going to do that for now. We're going to get a nice cheerful sky happening. Alright. So again, don't be worried about filling in everything. We're going to come back and kind of temperature the sky later on. Okay. Now you learn to use your brush. Learn to allow your brush to, so in other words, if you wanted to, you can even use your wrong hand and start painting, because then you have less control over, look at this, less control over your brush. And you get some interesting, now that looks messy, but don't worry about it. Okay. Roll your brush. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to this palette, or we're going to use our yellow and bring it into our blue and get some green. So I've used hence the yellow with the blue. And again, this one, I don't want to really mix it. I want to just, again, create variation in what I'm putting on here. What we're doing with this painting is we're not really painting formally. We're allowing emotions to come out as we paint. So don't worry about it looking kind of really cruddy right now. It's gonna come alive soon. You start doing a little bit of reading your art history, you'll find that Monet, or I'm sorry, Manat, he used a lot of scribbling in his brushes. In fact, we went and saw some of his paintings in Paris, Cassandra and I, and we were shocked at some of the paintings that are very famous, like the lilies. They look like he had just cleaned his his brush on the canvas. And it was such a beautiful picture. Okay, so what you're doing here, you're covering some areas. You see how this is popping? Again, we don't have any form here, so we're going to start adding form soon. Same thing with the sky. We don't really have any form. But why don't we go ahead and use some of this purple to block in the building. The reason why I'm using purple, again, it's an opposite color to browns, although there is no opposite color to browns, because browns is basically all colors combined. But we're gonna see what we come up with. Okay, again, I'm not really interested in covering everything. Cool. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create some form in our sky. Thoroughly clean your brush. Now I want to be a little more careful, just a wee bit, so we can. Another lesson that we can do later on is, you see on the edges how, if you notice, a lot of the painters, they create a darker form of color. The reason why they do that is because whenever there's darkness in the edges, the eye tends to recede back, because you always want to bring the eye back. And look at how it's popped the inner part of the canvas just by doing these almost vignette shadows. Okay. Now here's another tip, is that when you're painting, always step back, because you always can see what you're doing as you step back. Subdue this sky a wee bit more. I've got I'm starting to fine tune it a wee bit, maybe too early. Keep forgetting. So, lighter on the bottom, darker on the top. What this helps is that when you put the horizon line on, because the horizon line is going to be just as light, but it's still going to be showing Now for your grass, remember this is far away, so you don't have to. Let's do a few hills. You're almost mixing in the sky with the hills. Then that's going to show us that we've got a long mountain. Okay, continue to work on it. As you put more greens and decide whether you want some flowers, a stream going through maybe. Now remember, this is just beginners, and as you get better in your practice, you're going to more